this whole concept of independent existence is a myth. You guys all drove cars to get here. Who made the gas that went into your car? We brought bags of food to eat in terms of making lunch and stuff. Who grew that food? I mean, if you just look at it at that silly, simple level, then the whole concept of independence is ridiculous. It was my understanding that we're going to do this discussion on the concept of doership or non-doing. The ego mind has sort of two ways of functioning. If we turn it outwardly, it uses its discriminating power to separate everything in the outer world. If we reverse that and turn that discriminating power inward, we're able to separate truth from not truth. It has an outer aspect in the world where it defines itself as all the things in the outer world, separating me from you, up from down, black from white. I remember there was somebody here one time for a satsang, and he was talking about this whole thing. And the basic position of Jnana Yoga is to ask the hard questions, the questions that tell you not to ask. If I see myself as a separate individual in a hostile world, then I automatically make myself incomplete. My first thought was, how can we do a video on non-doing? It seems to be some kind of silly juxtaposition of semantics that makes us get lost in that whole concept of doership, non-doership. We said earlier that it was about self-identity, about recognizing who we are. And living in a world where the whole concept of knowing who you are is a taboo. Unchanging. It's your sense of completeness. And it's that inner awareness of the totality of your being, that is the reality. Everything else is just a game. And once you realize that life is just a game, then you're free to play. You know? It's not so damn serious and not so crazy and stuff. If I can watch my mind thinking, what's that tell me? I'm not the mind. I'm the guy that has the mind, the guy that observes the mind. But even at some level, that's bullshit, because who knows what? One is when, in meditation, who meditates? A question I always like to ask in meditation classes, how many people have tried to meditate? Everybody raises their hand. How many people, when they sat down to get still, encountered a random crazy mind? Everybody raises their hand. Okay, that moment in time can be seen two ways. It can be either your first major obstacle or your first big breakthrough. If I ask how many people can say it as a breakthrough? Nobody. How many people see it as an obstacle? Everybody. Well, how could that moment of sitting still, trying to meditate, and encountering an uncontrollable mind be a major breakthrough? Well, the answer is, if I can watch my mind thinking, what's that tell me? I'm not the mind. I'm the guy that has the mind, the guy that observes the mind. What enables that part of the mind to function is facing our ignorance. And I like the English word ignorance, because ignorance is the process of ignoring. In other words, deep down inside, I already know the truth. The only way I can function as a separate being in the outer world is to purposely ignore it. And we're conned into believing that concept is reality. That's who we are. And that sets up this terrible, terrible dilemma. Because if I'm in love with the guy I was when I was 25 years old, now that I'm 75, I have a terrible dilemma because I'm not that guy. Very little about what that guy was is still existent. But what is it that's the same as when I was 25? It's certainly not my body, certainly not my looks, etc. Certainly not my intellectual capacity or all that kind of stuff. It's what I call the you who was you when you were 2. I guess the question would arise then is if we are that total cosmic being and that alone acts, what makes us think that we're something different and that we are the owner and the doer and the actor in the world? And yoga uses the word ahamkara to define what that is. Ahamkara means the I maker. It's our sense of separate existence. The word that we use in English is ego, but in Western psychology, ego is used to define who we are. In yogic psychology, the ego is defined as the false sense of being separate from God and the universe. I think you got kind of dismayed with the audience in the Western world, and tried to find different ways to approach them and all that kind of stuff. And now we're sort of full circle back to asking all the impossible jnana yoga questions. And that was, so when Peter called up and said, we're going to do a little bit of documentary video or something on non-doing, my first thought when he said that was, I don't do non-doing. And then I thought, I don't do doing either. So who does? In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, do your duty always, but without attachment. That's how a man reaches the ultimate truth, by working without anxiety for results. Every action is really performed by the gunas. Man, deluded by his egoism, thinks I am the doer. But he who has true insight into the operations of the gunas and their various functions knows that when the senses attach themselves to objects, gunas are merely attaching themselves to gunas. Knowing this, he does not become attached to his actions.
Always truth.
So we're just wonderful. Perfect at all times.
It can be said so. You see, the reason is this. The same thing can be seen from different angles. When you see from a limited angle, things may be very horrible, painful, disgusting. And one has to do something on that level. And from other point of view, things could be so transcendental, so sweet, so uplifting, that there is divine perfection and grace. So it depends where in what gear you play. And then wherever you click in, automatically you will behave just like that. It is no more strange if you are really pure and enlightened. There is no distance and kindness. You are like in the flow.
And in the flow of life, we can realize this so that it becomes real and you have a unshakable conviction, security, spiritual security that you are that, we are that. So it goes beyond words and what you have read and what you've been told, and live that truth. It happens in the very flow of life for all of us. Hari Om.
You didn't recorded this? Oh, I will be so happy. Please show me now after the smile. Sing some song in the glory of the moment.
To be simple, 'tis a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to turn round where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in a place just right, we will be in the valley of love and delight. Where
Clouds come and go in the sky, but the blueness of the sky remains ever intact. You are that blueness of the sky which never changes. Feel it here and now, and know you are the changeless, pure awareness. You are a space in which everything unfolds. You think you are the doer. But these are the tendencies, the gunas, the universe acting through you. All the great teachers and sages have always told us, and we have read, that we are vehicles, channels. This is not simply true for these great souls, but for you and me. Feel it. Close your eyes. We are that blue sky. Ultimately, there was this sense that whatever it is that we know, we are that knower. And somebody would sooner or later say something akin to, I'm this knower. The same knower I was when I was a baby boy looking through these eyes. And Shanji would say, when you know that you are this knower, and you are nothing but this knower, then you are truly enlightened. So let us all celebrate now together this knower inside.